Matt, thanks for taking the time to join us on Investor Stream following what's been a very busy few weeks for Comet Resources. Firstly, some great news last week with Comet securing commitments for the $2 million required to acquire the Barraba Copper Project in New South Wales. It certainly appears an opportune time to be adding a copper project to the portfolio. Can you talk us through what attracted you to the project?
Yeah, sure. Look, great to be talking to you today. So the Barraba project is an exciting transaction for Comet. First of all, it fits perfectly with our strategy to focus on commodities that are exposed to this battery revolution and this decarbonisation of both the transport sector and power generation sectors. And because of that, we think that copper is going to see very large increases in demand over the coming decade due to its intense use in both battery electrical vehicles, not only in the batteries themselves, but also in the electric motors that drive the wheels of battery electric vehicles. They have copper windings in those motors. There's around about 4 to 5 times the amount of copper in a battery electric vehicle as there is in a normal internal combustion engine. And because of that, and the fact that copper is at the moment sort of in its natural commodity cycle is coming off the bottom, analyst forecasts so that copper could go into deficit as early as 2024, and certainly looks like a fairly significant deficit by 2025. So, I think that bodes well for the fundamentals for copper and makes it a great time to be adding a copper project to the portfolio. Secondly, the Barraba Copper Project itself has never been systematically tested using modern exploration techniques. So we think we've got a good opportunity to go in there and to drill not only some historical workings on the license, but also to conduct modern exploration along the lines of downhole geophysics, maybe some more surface geophysics, and identify additional deposits through that exploration work. As we discussed in our press release, the Barraba Copper Project is a VMS deposit, a volcanogenic massive sulfide, and those deposits often occur in clusters. Therefore, we see exploration upside there, hopefully discovering some additional VMS deposits on the licence through an effective exploration campaign.
Now, just looking through the investor deck you presented at the Explorers Conference last week, you highlighted some pretty impressive grades from historical mining at the Gulf Creek mine within the Barraba project area. What can you tell us about the historical mining that was carried out at Gulf Creek?
Yeah, there's 2 mines located on the site actually, or on the licence I should say. One was the Murchison mine. There's not really any historical information available on that, but it's certainly obviously another area of potential exploration for us. But there was also the Gulf Creek copper mine, which was mined for periods in the late 1890s and the early 1900s. They mined around about 30,000 tonnes of copper at an average grade of 5%, which is quite high. There was reports of zinc being also in the deposit at grades of around about 1.5 to 2 times the copper, but there's no historical assays for us to refer to, so it's sort of anecdotal. However, we will also be testing for that, of course, in the exploration program that we will complete. So that historical information of very high grade material being mined on the site in the past, it gives us confidence to not only have success from drill testing the historical areas, but also stepping out along strike or parallel to the historical areas, and also, as I said previously, exploring for additional VMS deposits on site. So we think there's good exploration potential from this licence, and that was one of the things, of course, that attracted us to it.
Thanks, Matt. So prior to your appointment last year, Comet's primary focus was the Springdale Graphite Project in WA. What's the latest there?
So we're continuing to work on Springdale in parallel with this Barraba acquisition. There's met work underway in Perth at the moment on the core from the drilling campaign, the diamond drilling campaign in 2019. That's ongoing. Once we have the results from that and then produce a bulk sample, a bulk float concentrate, we'll send that bulk sample across to Germany for detailed value in use testing. And so we're sort of expecting to complete the first stage of the met work in Q1 and then commence the second stage of the met work in Germany late Q1, early Q2. So that's still going on in parallel.
Thanks, Matt. Now, just to finish off, what will you be zeroing in on over the next few months once the Barraba transaction's finalised?
Yeah, well, of course, the immediate focus is to get that transaction finalised. We'll be putting out the notice of meeting in hopefully in the next few days and scheduling the shareholder meeting to approve the transaction. Once the transaction's approved, then we can, of course, move forward with the actual physical exploration program. But we won't be sitting around and waiting for the shareholder meeting completely. We're already engaged in preparation work for the exploration campaign, so we're commencing work to submit the applications to the New South Wales government for the drilling permits. We're going to conduct a site visit in March, do some review and reconnaissance of the areas that we already have planned for the drilling, because the drill holes are already planned. So we'll be looking there to see if there's anything that needs to be removed, trees, etc., to allow access for the drills. Meet the landowners up there and the local community, and also, do some sort of a surface geological review, take a few rock chip samples, etc. And then once the transaction's approved, we'd be looking to, as soon as possible, get the drills on site and commence the actual drilling program. So quite a bit happening in the next few months.
Fantastic, Matt. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on how those things progress. But for the time being, I really appreciate you jumping on and chatting to me today, and all the best.
Great. Thanks for having me.